Hey everyone, are you ready to swing into action?
Always ready for a new deep dive.
We're taking a look at Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse today.
Such a cool movie.
Yeah, our listener sent in the Wikipedia article on it,
Awesome.
and we're going to unpack all the amazing details about the film. Well, for starters, it's visually stunning.
It really is. The animation style is incredible.
How they made it look like an actual comic book is beyond me.
Yeah, they used a really unique combination of computer animation and hand-drawn techniques.
It's one thing to say it looks like a comic book, but when you actually watch it,
Right.
it's like, how did they even do that?
They used all these techniques like halftones, those little dots that you see in comic books.
Right.
To give it that textured look and, what are they called? Ben-Day dots? To create those color gradients and patterns. Like it's straight from the pages of a comic book.
Seriously. And it's crazy how long it must have taken to actually make the movie look that good.
Oh, absolutely.
The article mentioned that it took, a year to make just 10 seconds of footage.
Wow.
Yeah, a year for 10 seconds.
That's dedication.
Talk about dedication.
It's true. You see, most Western animation relies on this technique called squash and stretch, which makes the movements look all fluid, but Into the Spider-Verse went in a totally different direction.
Yeah, much more, I don't know, what would you call it? Like stylized.
Stylized, yeah.
Yeah.
More staccato, like an actual comic book.
Exactly. And you know what's cool? It seems like a lot of animated movies that came out after Into the Spider-Verse, like The Mitchells versus the Machines or Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, they all seem to have been inspired by that same style.
Totally. Like The Bad Guys, too.
Oh, yeah. The Bad Guys, good one.
That movie's animation was so unique.
It really opened the door for more experimental animation style.
It's like Into the Spider-Verse proved that audiences were ready for something big.
Absolutely. And speaking of breaking new ground, the whole Spider-Verse concept is something else.
Totally different.
It's not your typical Spider-Man story.
Not at all. Yeah, it's like they took the idea of Spider-Man and said, what if there were a whole bunch of them?
A whole bunch of spider people.
Right, exactly. And each one is from a different dimension with their own unique style.
And the way they show the different dimensions, it's incredible.
It's wild. You jump from like a comic book to a street art mural to a cartoon in a split second.
Right. It's incredible. And the animation just makes it work.
You couldn't do it any other way.
It wouldn't be the same.
But it's not just the visuals, right?
No, definitely not.
The Spider-Verse concept allowed them to tell a whole new kind of superhero story.
It's true. At its heart, Into the Spider-Verse is a coming-of-age story.
Absolutely.
It's about Miles Morales.
Finding his place in the world.
And figuring out what it even means to be Spider-Man.
Right. Because he's not your typical superhero.
He's not some billionaire playboy. He's just a kid from Brooklyn.
Exactly. Just a regular kid who gets bitten by a radioactive spider.
And that's what makes it so relatable. So many people can connect with Miles' story.
And the representation aspect, too.
Right. Having a Spider-Man who's African-American and Puerto Rican is huge.
It really breaks down barriers and shows that anyone can be a hero.
Exactly. And the voice acting is amazing.
Oh my God, the cast is incredible.
Shameik Moore as Miles is perfect.
He really brings the character to life.
And Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, so good.
I love his take on Peter Parker, all washed up.
World-weary Peter, I love it. It's interesting, though, they deliberately cast different actors for this film.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to use any of the actors from the MCU.
Like, they could have gotten Tobey Maguire for the older Peter.
Yeah, but it would have been too confusing for audiences.
I get it. It's better to keep things separate.
Plus, they still got to do some fun stuff, like the Donald Glover cameo.
Oh my God, that was brilliant.
So good. It plays on his role in Community where he wore Spider-Man pajamas.
And all those fan campaigns to get him to play Spider-Man?
And he even voiced Miles in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
He was also in Homecoming. He played Miles' uncle.
It's like they planned it all along.
Talk about a full circle moment.
It adds so much to his cameo.
Speaking of behind the scenes, did you know that they almost got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland for cameos?
No way.
Seriously?
Yeah, can you imagine all three live-action Spider-Men in one movie?
That would have been insane.
Too much for one movie, maybe.
Probably for the best. They saved it for the sequel.
I know, right? I can't wait to see what they do in the next one.
Me neither. Although they did consider putting all three Spider-Men in a post-credit scene.
Really? Oh, man. What could have been?
Wild. Yeah, they actually scrapped a whole romance storyline between Miles and Spider-Gwen.
Whoa, seriously? That's interesting.
It's probably for the best, though, you know?
Yeah, keep the focus on their individual journeys and all.
Exactly. Plus, it allowed Gwen's character to really shine through. And she's such a cool character. I love her design and her whole vibe.
Right. She's got that awesome art style, and her fighting skills are next level.
Totally. I love how she moves in the film. It's so fluid and graceful.
It's like she's dancing almost.
Definitely. And speaking of cool things, I heard there's a spin-off in the works with Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, they're making one with her, Spider-Woman, and Silk.
No way. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we should talk about the legacy of Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, absolutely. This movie wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon.
It won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Which is a huge deal. It really says something about the impact of the film.
And it wasn't just the animation, although that was incredible, but the story, the characters, the music, everything just came together perfectly.
It really resonated with audiences.
Even people who weren't that into superhero movies loved it.
It had something for everyone.
It really pushed the boundaries of what an animated movie could be.
And it's inspiring a whole new generation of filmmakers.
I mean, you can see its influence everywhere, even in live-action Marvel movies.
Oh, totally. Like Mrs. Marvel, the visuals were heavily inspired by Into the Spider-Verse.
So cool to see how one movie can have such a ripple effect.
It's a testament to its creativity and originality.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive here, any final thoughts on Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse?
You know, it's just a really special movie. It reminds us why we love superhero stories in the first place.
It can be about anyone, right?
Exactly. And they can be visually stunning and innovative and still have a ton of heart.
And Into the Spider-Verse definitely has a ton of heart.
It's a movie that stays with you long after you've seen it.
Couldn't agree more. And there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the amazing world of Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. What a film!
Got a film.
Hopefully this deep dive will give you even more to appreciate the next time you watch it.
Definitely.
And if you're as excited about the future of the Spider-Verse as we are, be sure to check out those spin-offs we mentioned.
That's so much more to explore.
Until next time, keep on swinging.